When you have a really good vision and really good goals, you feel really empowered to have the absolute best homeschool year you can possibly have. That is the recipe to have the best memories, the feeling of just complete peace in your choices of what you're doing. Everything that is coming into your home is serving a purpose. It's not a guilt buy, a spontaneous buy, or a trying to fix buy, which a lot of people, including myself, have made the mistake in the past of just purchasing more because something doesn't feel right and we can't quite put our finger on it. Having a vision and then creating really great goals within that vision, that is the answer to eliminating that hamster wheel of purchasing and failing and forgetting and wasting money and that constant feeling of chaos. Hey, my name is Tiffany. This is Into Life Homeschool. My channel is all about mindset, homeschooling, and organization. Welcome to the third video of the Chaos to Clarity homeschooling series. I created these videos as a way of sharing what I've learned over the last few years of homeschooling and wanting to share it with you guys so that you can get to the good stuff sooner, because it's taken me a really long time to get here. I've been homeschooling for over 5 years, and I've had a lot of really hard years, and I've had to learn a lot of really hard lessons. And I think that information should be out there to help you get to the best homeschool that you can have in your family, and I really wanted to contribute to that conversation. I encourage you, if you haven't, to go back and watch the last video about creating vision for your homeschool. This video is the third video of the series, and this video is talking about goals in relation to your vision. So once you've got your vision, you understand why you're doing what you're doing, what you want to get out of your year ahead or the years ahead, it's now time to really sit down and think about what kind of goals that you think that you want to achieve in your homeschool, what feels really good. There'll be some really obvious ones from the work that you've done in the printable for creating your vision in your homeschool. You'll know what you need to change. You'll know very clearly what kind of habits that you want to start creating, and those goals will probably just jump out at you. But then there's some other ways to word goals, and that's what this video is about. This video is really honing in on the damage that creating goals can do if they're done in a way that feels closed. And by that I mean sometimes you can make a goal and it can end up being the weight on your shoulders for your kids or for yourself. It can feel like it's a really hard slog to get there. It's a really hard thing and it feels negative. So I have another printable pack for you that you can go into the description box below and download for free, and it will step you through creating those goals. I've also written a whole heap of tips and tricks around that, and I've also given you a couple of examples of ways that you can actually present goals, because some kids don't do well. Lots of kids don't do well with the feeling of having something hanging over their heads, like they have to achieve this thing. A lot of kids don't have the confidence in themselves yet that they feel they can achieve these things just yet. And this is all part of the journey of homeschooling. If we can get our kids confident enough to work through a process of creating goals for themselves, they can do this yearly. This is a practice that they can carry on into adulthood. What a life changer. That is why I'm so passionate about this. I get really fired up, but I get really fired up for good reason, because I have seen a difference in my own children from doing this process. And it is just simply, I feel like I'm really giving them the best chance in success in whatever they want to try and achieve in the future because of these kinds of disciplines, these kinds of habits that just feel natural now. At first, they can feel a little uncomfortable until you find your rhythm, until they build that confidence and trusting that if they really give it their all, they can achieve wonderful things. So please go ahead and grab that printable, share it with your family, and walk through the process of creating goals. A couple of tips around goal making. I think that it needs to be said that some kids, like I've mentioned, don't like really talking about goals or feel like they come across a bit defensive around it. Now, sometimes that can be simply because it's not truly within their interest. It might be one of those hard goals, like the habit shifting things, like, we want to spend more time outside, but we're conflicted because someone really loves screen time and we have to get around that. So sometimes presenting goals as challenges can be really great way of just presenting that to your kid as more of a gentle approach to the goal. So it could be a challenge. So instead of having, the goals set out like just a bullet point form and having them all listed out for, what you want to achieve within the next six to 10 weeks, or, however you want to structure your goals, that is completely up to you and how big of a goal that is and what is in your vision. But my suggestion is that if you have the kind of child that gets a little bit overwhelmed by things like goals, having a challenge is great. So I have kind of given you options to present things. So you'll still go through the process of making that goal. So we use the SMART system when we make goals. I really feel like that is incredibly important to understand why you're writing that goal. What you're not just writing a wish list here. What is it that you want to get? Why will achieving this kind of thing make a difference? And that everybody understands that. So firstly, you need to be really specific. So break that goal down and make sure that it is measurable. So how are you going to measure it? Is it going to be something that you're going to how do you know when you're working towards it? Is it going to be something that you're going to incorporate into your routine? Because if it is something that you're going to work into your routine, can you attach it to something that you do every day to make that habit change a little bit easier? So, for example, like if I'm having my coffee, I tend to have my morning coffee. When I have my morning coffee, I'm going to do that thing with my son that he's trying to work towards. And he's going to do that. He's going to practice every day while I have my coffee. That is a fantastic way to start working in. And all of a sudden, it kind of becomes something that they look forward to. And we can create a little challenge for them instead of having it just like we must do this. And, it's black and white. And that's just something that they have hanging over their head that they have to do and get done. It is okay. You've worked towards your challenge. You're almost there. We're trying to do this thing for, 4 weeks. Let's try for 4 weeks. And when we get to 4 weeks, I'm going to take you to the movies to see one of your favorite movies that are coming out. And then all of a sudden, it's not just a list of, sorry, that's my pug having an itch. Come on. Thank you. Okay. What was I saying? So all of a sudden, it's not a thing that they have to do and that they're subjected to. It's actually something that they want to achieve. And there's no doubt that our kids want to achieve great things in their homeschool. They always, if they have the option, they will always try to succeed in what they do. No one ever wants to feel like they're not good enough or not performing or not, not able to do something. If they believe that they can do it, they will. So if by making our goals broken down into bite-sized pieces, into simple things, into simple acts that we can pair together, that they feel like they're a part of a team, magic happens. That's what happens in our homeschool, and I'm sure it will happen for you. It's just a matter of figuring out your kid. None of this is easy. Figuring out what will work with them. Other options are creating a a bucket list, like make it a summer, winter, whatever, make it relevant to the weather or relevant to a theme that you're studying as well. We've done that in the past with thematic studies as well. I love, little unit studies and creating a bucket list, and we have all these things, and I try and work in elements of our goals into that as well as just, relevant things to our studies. So it's not just all like, specific stuff that we're just trying to nut out, because some of these goals can be really hard, and there's no doubt that we want to achieve them. Everyone will be on board with that, but no one ever said it was going to be easy either. So we need to get creative as home educators to make these things not just about, working hard and getting to the end and there's success. It's making the journey enjoyable and getting there, because if we could do that, then it doesn't feel quite so hard, and it also feels like, wow, like we are not only having a great time getting to where we want to go, but we're also like achieving great things. So when you get used to this goal making process, I do recommend starting out small. Just focus on smaller time frames and smaller goals, bite-sized steps towards, breaking down that goal, and then, just working on habit shifting and just easing into it, because a lot of times the mistakes we make constantly, and I hear this from friends as well, is that we go in so full of momentum and ambition as home educators. We're making changes. Like, we've done our vision, we've done our plan, we've mapped everything out. They're going to love this. And it's almost like our kids smell like the desperation of us wanting to achieve a great result. And it's like the pressure is just too much for them. And everyone just starts tensing up, and it doesn't feel natural and it feels forced, and we're like, well, I've put so much work into this, so why are we not having fun? And so many times, guys, and we just need to chill a little bit. We have a whole year to get through these things, and it's quite surprising once we make these little changes. It's momentum just builds and builds and builds within our kids. This is what we're trying to achieve. We're not trying to make big, huge changes for our entire life. We're making bite-sized changes and chipping away at it and creating those habit-forming things that will set them up for long-term success. This is a marathon, and it is definitely not a race. And we are opting out of the race and focusing on clarity and focusing on connection with our kids. So anytime you start feeling like that connection is not happening and things are tensing up, probably pushing too hard and probably aiming too high. Take a step back. It's okay to take a step back and reevaluate, or even shift focus to something else for a little bit, or checking in with them. Often they can, if you approach them in the right way, they can explain what's going on. Milkshakes are my thing. We go out for milkshakes and everyone starts talking. So I love that. And it really does help to kind of just check in with them. We're having a homeschool meeting. What's going on? I'm sensing that, just things are just not feeling right. What do you think we should do? How can we change that? I really want our days to be enjoyable. We have things that we need to do, and are we, getting the balance wrong? Should we do more of this, that? What do you think? And it's amazing how our kids can often come up with really amazing solutions that I would never have thought of. And giving them that trust is a pretty special thing. They certainly don't get that in a conventional school. Once you actually get used to the goal making process and you're feeling quite confident with that, you can start looking at your homeschool as a whole and branch out a little bit more. So with that, this year, because we are getting better at creating goals that we actually stick with, and we're feeling like we're on a really good path at the moment with what we're wanting to focus on. I'm actually creating more goals than what I would normally, and more long-term ones as well. So a mixture of shorter term and long term. So for our homeschool, I'm actually making some educational goals. So I usually try to, when I'm looking at my goal making process, I look at educational, like as in academic type stuff for each subject, like what is the focus. So I wouldn't necessarily call them goals, but they're more of a focus, and that's just simply to focus on it, and whatever improvements come through that will be what it will be. In terms of education for me, it's just spending time on that and assessing as we go as to how much progress we can actually make in that area. When we are looking at creating our goals, I look at educational goals, what sort of educational goals that I want to create for the kids. I talk to them about where we are feeling with things. Often we've done like some revision quizzes, and I have a pretty good understanding of where they're at. And I find that I have a couple of books that can be really helpful for me to just kind of look in at their grade and these things go out of date so quickly unless you've got a recent published book. You're going to have out of date information, but the point is that you can go to your local education department website as well. They have all of the the scope and sequence type stuff of things that you're supposed to be focusing on for your kids, things that they're supposed to be achieving, all of that. If you really wanted to dig deep, you could have a look at all of that as well. It really depends on your approach to homeschooling, but for me, it's more of a bigger picture thing. It's more of focusing on encouraging variety, encouraging taking risks in learning, because I have perfectionist children. They only want to do it if they feel like they can get it perfect. I'm really working on breaking through that. So that is a goal for us. And the way that we're going to be working on that is through focusing on certain elements in our educational goals. Then I have mindset goals, so affirmations, things that we want to work on in our mindset, making really good friends, friendships, handling social settings, and things like that can be wonderful goals. Health goals as well, and sports, all of those kinds of things. They all kind of fit under the life skills, and I always try to focus on elements of life skill goals, because that is just we're a special needs family, and that takes a little bit more energy and thought and really purposeful planning for us to work through those things. It can get very easy to just do things for them because they're really hard and they take a long time. So I have to hold back and try and really give them the confidence to just keep going with those things. So I'm not going to dig too deeply into that because that is just a very personal thing for our family, but we have a lot of life skill goals that we work on every year in our homeschool. And I think that will probably be for the duration of our homeschooling. Finally, once you've got all your goals, what the heck do you do with them? The point is that you have these goals. You've got this written, write it out really neatly, put it into your planner. I have a whole section, a whole project in Freely Homeschool Planner where I've got all the information, the PDFs that I've done, everything is in that one project, and it's all planning, it's all around what kind of goals that I want to do. It's broken up into term. It is just something that I go to whenever I'm feeling like I'm losing focus or feeling like I need to reevaluate where I'm at, and I just color code everything. And that is actually something that I tend to print out. I download it and print it out into a PDF, and that is really handy to just present to my authorities when I have reporting. So it's a really great way of just tracking when things have been done, that we're actually achieving our goals that I say that I'll do in my report, in my application for home education as well. That's all different for everyone, so I won't delve too much into that. Maybe if it's helpful, I could create a video dedicated to my reporting processes as well. But essentially, keep things together and easy reference, and make sure it's really clearly written out or even typed up, however you want to present it. Make sure it's all together is what I'm trying to say. So now that you have actually got the goals and you understand, you've worked through the processes in the printable pack that I've provided, and you're ready to just figure out how do we implement these things. Some things will be just self-explanatory, especially the educational goals. But really what it comes down to is making a fantastic routine. And now you don't want to go headstrong and make sure we're addressing 4 or 5 goals every week. That is not the way to go, guys. So really have to check in with the age that your kids are and how well they handle change, and just focus on that habit tracking. So I'm going to be doing another video that will talk you through figuring out your routine, figuring out how to actually implement things in a gentle way, and the ways that I love creating routines and how it works for my family. Make sure you've subscribed, make sure you've hit the bell so you get notifications for the next video that comes out as well. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.